Hello, this is Awee Abayari welcoming you to another edition of Immigration Update on the Air, brought to you by International News Media Network. Today we have with us Attorney Jack Golan with 50 years of experience in U.S. immigration law. Welcome to the show, Attorney Golan, and thanks so much for joining us today.
I'm always happy to be with you and your listeners.
As always, we have our traditional segments on the show for the sake of our listeners and viewers that we ask the latest developments on immigration. And of course, later on, we'll be raising the questions from some of our listeners who have called in. Now, Attorney Golan, in the past few weeks, there had been widespread news about arrests and raids and deportations. What is the latest on this topic?
The latest on this topic is that there was nothing going on in the real world. It was only a lot of noise in the media because during those weekends during which the mass raids and mass arrests were supposed to take place, ICE arrested only 31 people. So out of them, it started with an announcement that millions will be arrested and deported. And then ICE spoke about 2,000, and it ended up with the arrest and maybe deportation of 31 people. So it was only one of those scare tactics of Mr. Trump to create a distraction from other problems and lots of noise in the media, or lots of fear among the immigrant community, but nothing of real meaning, nothing of real significance took place in the real world.
So would you be able to say the background of those who were arrested, Attorney Golan? Did they have previous deportation hearings pending?
In principle and legally speaking, ICE or immigration cannot just get hold of anybody they meet and deport them. This cannot be done. Legally, it's impossible. If ICE gets hold of somebody who is undocumented, all they can do is they can schedule him or her a hearing in immigration court before an immigration judge, and only the judge can order a deportation. Therefore, ICE has no interest in running around and catching people who do not have all the deportation orders. They want to catch people who have older deportation orders. Under the Obama administration, they set out priorities, and they said even somebody who has an old deportation order, if it is a person who has no criminal record, and if it is a person who is taking care, is responsible for some other people, like a spouse or children or parents, then they leave them alone, even if they have an old deportation order. Today, those guidelines are probably erased, don't exist anymore, but still, even today, ICE cannot deport anybody who does not have a previous order of deportation. So therefore, when the president spoke about millions, ICE spoke only about 2,000. And in actuality, they ended up with only 31.
Mm-hmm. And so you would say, Attorney Golan, to those people who are watching this program or listening, if they don't have deportation orders and if they have just pending petitions and they're undocumented but working, should they continue to go to work?
I suggest that everybody continues in his life or her life like normal, like they did before, and don't make any drastic changes. It is unnecessary.
Mm-hmm. Now, there's a great concern among the DACA, previous applicants. And of course, for those who were not able to apply, I'm sure they're very concerned too. What is the latest on the DACA?
The latest on the DACA is that there is no latest.
Oh.
Those who have applied previously are able to apply for extensions, and they are getting extensions all the time. Those who already applied previously before Trump came into power. those who did not apply previously cannot make applications now. The government does not accept the new applications, but extensions of old applications are given, and this applies to maybe about 700 or 800,000 people that are getting extensions all the time. This whole thing is still hanging in the courts, and there is no final decision about the fate of the DACA applicants, or even the DACA people who are eligible but never applied. All this is still shrouded in a fog.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, still pending.
And so for this gentleman we'll call letter B, who is very concerned, he actually applied for DACA and is presently working, and he says that he continually extends. So what is the future for DACA? How do you see it in the future, Attorney Golan? Will this be a path towards citizenship?
Well, I don't know if it will be a path for citizenship or if it will be a path for legalization. Just make the problem with DACA is that it is a program that started under Obama but never received the force of law. It was never enacted properly. It was only a memo or a guideline issued by the Obama administration, but it was never passed as normal legal regulations. So this is why the government now is able to come and say, since it was never regulated in a normal way, we are able to cancel it in the same way that it was passed. However, the courts are holding it back, and they say, well, even if it was not passed in a proper way as a proper regulation, but because so many people depend on it and it became a precedent, you cannot just run around, come one day and cancel it. So the court is still debating and still weighing the legal sides, whether the government can cancel DACA or not.
Mm-hmm.
But most probably this whole thing will come to a solution together with many other issues that legal immigration is having.
Mm-hmm. So that's the answer for you, gentleman B, who had called in about his concerns with DACA. Now, Attorney Golan, we have someone whose name starts with the letter Z, and she's concerned about her upcoming naturalization interview. She's been a green card holder for some time, now has applied for naturalization. Of course, she's anxious about the interview because apparently she heard there will be some changes to the naturalization interview, perhaps more questions in depth, and also worried about her daughter, who will be 18 years old. What happens to her daughter that is also under her petition, and she, when she came here on a work visa? What happens? Can she also apply for citizenship, or will she be able to get the derived citizenship?
Well, let me understand. This one woman is worried about her naturalization.
Yes.
Because she already has a green card.
Yes.
Does the daughter have a green card?
Yes, also.
Well, if the daughter has a green card and the mother becomes a citizen before the daughter is 18, then the daughter will be a citizen automatically.
What happens if they pass the time, like if it's over 18, just even for a few days or a few weeks? What happens?
Then the daughter will need to apply for citizenship on her own.
Oh, wow.
Make her own application for citizenship, okay, and not depend on the mother's application. If the daughter has a green card, and if she has a green card for 5 years and stayed most of the time in the U.S., then she can apply for citizenship one day after she is 18.
I guess this happens the most of the time, Attorney Golan, when the son or the daughter becomes like over 18. And so isn't there a special consideration for these cases?
Well, the consideration is only up to age 18.
Wow.
But they don't really need special consideration. Why do they need special consideration?
They wanted to have a derived citizenship so that the daughter does not apply anymore.
Why not? They she wants to save $600.
I guess.
This is the whole issue.
A lot of money.
Yeah, but when she becomes a citizen at age 18 or 19, she still has 60 years to make enough money here.
Right.
Pay back the $600.
It's interesting because Attorney Golan, somehow people have that notion that if you are naturalized and you go through the application process, it is really much better to have a derived when you are given the certificate. Is there a difference when you're naturalized and just get a certificate of naturalization?
No, there is no difference in your status or in your rights. What kind of certificate you get? Maybe some people are afraid to do the actual application for naturalization because they are afraid, because they have some bad stains on their record.